I saw this on my timeline today, and I was tagged in it. And shout out to Trill Texas, uh, FBA Forever, for tagging me in this. And it literally triggered me mainly because of how the title was phrased on CNN, where the title reads, "Black men say they feel ignored by politicians. A historic Senate face-off between two black men isn't helping." Well, I need to adjust that title. That title needs to be adjusted to "Black men are ignored by politicians, and a face-off of two black men isn't going to help a damn thing." If I was the one right in the writing room with this headline, with this title, that's how I would have phrased it, because that's exactly what it is. And it's crazy because I, did several videos about how you have a lot of these politicians out here saying that they want to extend the olive branch out to black men now all of a sudden, but it's too late. I'm recording this video on November 2nd, 2022. The midterm elections is in 6 days. This article went up on November 1st. How much more help can you try to give black men who already know that they're ignored? This goes back to what I was talking about in my bed bucking video that I did of 44. You can't extend the olive branch out to a group of people that you've shunned and ignored for so long and think that they're just going to jump and hop and just, oh, by the way, I'm going to vote for you. At the last minute, at that last second, in the last hour, are you kidding me? That is an insult. That is a slap in the face. The article reads, Aaron Bethea says he has voted election after election for U.S. presidents, governors, and senators, and yet those lawmakers have done little to nothing to improve life for him, his family, or his community. I'm willing to bet it's more on the leaning of nothing rather than little, because little would imply that something did occur or something did happen, but I'm willing to bet not a damn thing happened. But they said he believes the issues he cares about, financial freedom and equal investment in predominantly black schools, have largely been ignored. Where are we from? Nobody really cares about what black men think, said Bethea, an Atlanta father of 6 who owns a wholesale company that sells televisions. They don't do anything for us and then expect every one of them to go out there and just vote for them. You got roly-poly out there cussing out black people as usual, being sassy as he wants to be as usual, telling us to just get off our ass and go vote. You got 44 saying call your cousin Pookie to get off the couch and stop being lazy and go vote. You got Stacey Abrams saying if black men vote for me, I'll win Georgia. Okay, and what else to that? Saying that you had a black men agenda. We went to that black men agenda, and it's only black men agenda in title, but not by policy. And a host and gang of other things. And watch, they lose on the 8th. Then it's going to be, black men ain't shit or niggas ain't shit. Like, that's something that black men as a collective have not heard for eons. And then you got Al Sharpton talking about black men are insecure if they don't vote for Stacey Abrams. So it's like you say all of these things and throw out all of these insults and still expect black men to vote for you and then not receive anything in return on as far as tangibles and benefits are concerned. That's not how this works. I'm telling you, there's going to be a lot of upset people coming to 8th, but let me continue. Bethea, age 40, says he still plans to vote Democratic in Georgia's hotly contested gubernatorial and U.S. Senate races. Well, if you're still planning to vote for them, then why are you complaining? That's my biggest gripe. That's an issue right there for me. Like, why are you complaining? Why are you going to continue to vote for them and complain at the same time? Like, that makes no sense. But okay, let me continue. And he's within he's the generation behind me, because it says he's 40, which means he was born in 1982. So I don't know. I think that's right at the beginning of the millennial generation, if I got my dates correct. I believe. Don't quote me on that. It goes on to say, but he's not voting with enthusiasm. Well, how about you just don't vote at all? If they're not doing anything for you, then why vote? He said he is hoping that one day someone will prioritize the needs of black men. Well, that someday is not today, so I don't even know why you're wasting your time voting for them, because if they get in office and they still don't do anything for you, then you really have no one to blame for yourself but yourself. And another thing that I don't like a lot of those Democratic shills to do is when they say, well, if you don't vote, then you're just giving a vote to the other group. Just like listen, I can't tell you how many comments I received when I did that video about, I think it was Stacey Abrams and Okra, the Mammy Supreme Wig Free, and saying, well, who are you going to vote for? Who are you going to support? You know, if you don't vote, then it's this. And if you don't vote, then it's that. And I hate you. Niggas ain't shit. I got comments like that. And I just ignore them or brush them off. Some of them I just straight up block, because at that point, you're just trolling me. Like, it's no point in me going back and forth with you. Absolutely none. But they is not alone. Political analysts, researchers, and black male leaders say politicians are failing to reach some black men with messaging that resonates with them and visibility in their communities. Those shortcomings could particularly hurt Democrats in the upcoming midterms, given black men are the second most loyal voting bloc for the party next to black women, experts say. And it's crazy because the two major voting blocs, as they say, don't get shit from that party. They give everything that should be given to the first two voting blocks to the third, fourth, and fifth voting block, which is PC individuals, Asians, maybe illegal immigrants, the academy, and so on and so forth. Everyone else but those first two blocks. All they get, well, the first major voting block, all they'll tell them is that you're the backbone of the Democratic Party. They'll give you a compliment. Black men, you'll be lucky if you even get looked at. And while black men have increasingly supported Republicans in recent years, some say the GOP is still missing the mark. Many black men said they are concerned that Georgia Republican Senate candidate Herschel Walker does not represent them in a positive light, given his many public gaffes, history of domestic violence, and being an absentee father, which of course are all stereotypes that fall upon black men. So I can see the point that's being made right there. Political analysts worry that the lack of effective messaging could result in black men sitting home on November 8th, and Democrats like Stacey Abrams, who has made a late attempt to reach black men with a series of events, losing their races, and she's barely even doing that. If you've really been following her campaign, she's barely doing that. I can even say she's barely doing that, because to barely do that means that you're actually attempting to do something while making some kind of progress. She's not doing anything at all. I think the latest stunt that I saw was when she had that weird girl dancing on TikTok all down the street and on her bus, and Stacey Abrams was sitting there smiling, looking all nervous when that girl came up on that bus. I had that thing on mute, so I don't even know what she was dancing to. I think somebody put in the chat what she was dancing to, and it's crazy because the song that they put in the chat that I was watching was a slow song, but she was dancing like it was an upbeat song, unless it was one of those songs that was slow that they increase the beat to, like they'll remix a song and make it faster. But either way, it was so cringe. It was about as cringe as some of those get your booty to the pulp. Well, I take that back. Nothing is more in cringe than that in that no voting, no fucking video. My God. And that's another thing. When they put stuff out like that, that's another insult at black men. Let's be real here. We know who those videos were targeting. That's how they feel they got to communicate with us. Well, we'll communicate with you in a way of not voting for your ass on the 8th and watching you lose. There's our communication back at you. If some of them feel unmotivated because they don't feel spoken to, then you really got a problem, said Jason Nichols, a professor of African American Studies at the University of Maryland College Park. A lot of these campaigns don't hire black male advisors. They don't hire black men to actually tell them how to reach black men. That's interesting. I didn't think of that. But that is actually, now that I think about it, a true statement. They have all these other people to try to do outreach to black men, and none of them are black themselves. So how is it you're really going to know the black male experience if you don't have black men to speak to them? And you know what, I would say the right black men, because don't get no roly-poly types or them Al Sharpton types. Don't get them. Don't get a shill. I put it that way. Don't get a shill to do this kind of work, because we already know what kind of BS crap they gonna come with. So far, 39% of black voters have been men and 61% have been women, according to Catalyst, a company that provides data and other services to Democrats, academics, and nonprofit issue advocacy organizations, and gives insight into who was voting before November. Those breakdowns were the same at this point in the early voting period in 2020. Some polls have suggested that black men were gradually leaving the Democratic Party to vote for Republicans. In 2020, 12% of black men voted for former President Donald Trump. Ted Johnson, a senior director at the Brennan Center for Justice, said some black men find Republicans more attractive because they promote individualism and the idea that hard work, not government dependence, leads to financial success. In 2016, Johnson wrote in The Atlantic that a black person who supported Trump was likely a working class or lower middle class black man over the age of 35 and interested in alternative approaches to addressing what ails black America. Still, Johnson said black men are not naive and will vote against a Republican candidate who they feel is unfit. And for some black men, that is the case with Walker, who was running against incumbent U.S. Senator Raphael Warnock. The matchup between Walker and Warnock is one of the closest and most critical Senate races in the country, as Republicans seek to win back control of the body, which is currently split 50-50 with Vice President Kamala Harris casting the deciding vote. Walker has been criticized by his opponents for being violent towards his ex-wife and the claim that he paid for the mother of one of his children to get an abortion. Walker told Axios last year that he was accountable for his past violent behavior and that people shouldn't be ashamed for confronting mental health issues. In an interview with NBC News, Walker acknowledged that he sent a $700 check to a woman who alleges the money was provided to reimburse her for an abortion, but denied the check was for that purpose. Walker has been vocal about his anti-abortion views, but has gone back and forth about whether he supports exceptions. Walker is currently polling at 11% with black men compared to 74% for Warnock. Walker is just not an attractive, viable candidate for black folks, Johnson said. I think there are black men who won't vote for Stacey Abrams, but will vote for Raphael Warnock. Recent polls show Republican Governor Brian Kemp with support from 16% of black men compared to 77% for Abrams. Johnson said he believes Kemp has more support from black men because some men still refuse to vote for a woman into office. And see, that's that tactic, the same one that I talked about when it came to Al Sharpton before, when he was saying that if you don't vote for, Stacey Abrams, then you're insecure as a man or something like that. And that's not the case. I said it has nothing to do with her being a woman or a man being insecure in his manhood. That has nothing to do with it. If Stacey Abrams was saying what she was supposed to be saying to black men and actually backing up what she said with actions and tangibles, there will be a flood of black men that will go and support her. But she doesn't do that. She barely even does that with the women. Ask a lot of the women down there and they'll tell you the same thing. But they keep putting this stuff out there to make it seem like it's something when it's really not. What's behind that smoke screen? If we lift that veil, what's really there? Like I said, if she loses on the 8th, refer back to that article in which she stated that if black men vote for her, she will win Georgia. It's going to be article coming out saying black men didn't vote for her, so now I hate you. Well, to whoever writes that article on the behalf of her, we already knew that based on your track record with how you did not talk to black men in previous years. Like, where was all of this? I need black men for me to win like 4 years ago. Where was it then? Exactly. It was non-existent. Just like it's going to be non-existent this time around too. There is a strain of conservatism in black men that comes with a strain of sexism, Johnson said, noting that in 2016, some black men sat home because they didn't like Trump, but also didn't want to see Hillary Clinton as the first female president. But they don't want to go into details as to why they wouldn't want to see Hillary Clinton as president. There's a bunch of reasonings as to why they don't want her as president. And I'm guaranteeing you that her being a woman is at the bottom of that damn list. It's nowhere near the top. If there was a top 10, it wouldn't even be in or crack the top 5. So the whole thing of this whole thing of sexism and all of that, That's bullshit. Nice try, though. In recent years, Republicans have faced criticism for being sexist, misogynistic, and rejecting women's rights. So basically what they're doing is it's saying that if you as a black man support Republicans, no matter who it is, then you fall into one of those three or even all three of those categories. Walker's candidacy was a topic of discussion for several black men who gathered at Anytime Cuts barbershop in Atlanta on a recent Monday afternoon. The chat was part of a series hosted by the Urban League of Greater Atlanta's Black Male Voter Project and Black Men's Decide, offering black men a chance to discuss voting and the issues that matter to them. Some of the black men present said they found it offensive that the GOP would pit Walker, a former NFL running back with no political experience and a troubled past, against Warnock, a beloved figure in Atlanta's black community who pastored the church once led by Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. The guy is looking like a fool, said Antoine Hawkins, a 46-year-old barber. That's who we want to put in place to speak for us because he's a black man? No, to me, he looks like an idiot. And that's what I've said too. Like, and we know why they're doing it. Think about what Dana Loesch said in the video I did on her about 2 to 3 weeks ago when she says, I don't care if Herschel Walker aborted a bunch of baby eagles. I want the Senate. For them, it's all about power, and they will put anyone in place to get that power. Let's hypothetically say that Herschel Walker wins. What they're going to do with him after that, I don't know. All they want is power and to get in there, and they will do it by any means necessary. That's probably the only thing that they like about Malcolm X is that quote. They'll never say it, but if you think about it, it applies there. They will do anything by any means necessary to get in certain positions, and they don't care if they have to put a clown, sideshow freak, idiot like Herschel Walker into that position in order to get it. But they said after the barbershop event that Walker's candidacy feels like a sick joke. I think he's embarrassing himself, but they said, I don't play the field in a position that I don't know how to play. Someone talked him out of staying in his lane. But they said he plans to vote for Warnock because he's a more qualified candidate and pillar in the community. And see, the thing is, both candidates are not from what Herschel Walker, we can see that clearly, but from people down there who are aware of Raphael Warnock, he's no good either. But see, when they have someone like a Herschel Walker going against a Raphael Warnock, they're going to go with the person that they feel can articulate themselves better, or someone who's been in the political realm more longer than he has. Even if this person isn't good for them either. See, they basically have two bad candidates going against each other. There's really no winner here. It really isn't. Like, it's gonna, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, it's gonna be an L either way. It's not gonna be a win across the board no matter who wins. That's just me. But I can only speak for myself. I'm not a person who lives in Atlanta. But if I have anyone living down in Atlanta, what do you think? Do you think that this is going to be just an L across the board no matter who gets in, or do you think there might be a possible dub in there somewhere, depending on who gets in? Moyo Akanade, a 29-year-old soccer coach from Atlanta, said he too will vote for Warnock because he's a positive role model. Walker, meanwhile, perpetuates negative stereotypes about black men. Akanade said, those stereotypes are that we are aggressive, we aren't intelligent, and we are abusive. Akanade said, it portrays black men as being violent, and that's still inaccurate. But one barber said he doesn't think voters should judge Walker by his past. Everybody has a past. Everyone has done something wrong. Everybody has lied before. Everyone has done something that they shouldn't have done, said Charles Scotts, who manages Anytime Cuts. But at one point, people can change. Just like they are bashing Herschel Walker, how do you know he's not a changed man? Well, based on the stuff that we have seen and hear him talk about and the stuff that's coming out about him, I don't know how much he's really has changed. After all, this guy did pull out that sheriff star during the debate. This is the same guy that did that. I don't think anybody can get that image out of their head. But let me continue. Black men interviewed by CNN said they look for more than just character and experience in politicians, but also the issues they address. A report released by the NAACP in September found that black men believed racism and discrimination, inflation, cost of living, and criminal justice reform and police brutality were the most important issues facing the black community. The survey also concluded that 41% of black men disapproved of the job President Joe Biden is doing to address the needs of the black community. See, this is the stuff right here that they do not put out there into the media sphere. They keep this completely under wraps. And one thing that Trill Texas did tell me in the tweet is said, look how far they bury black men said they need tangible results. Because ironically, I've been talking to y'all in this article for the last 20 minutes, and we're just now getting to that tangible part. 20 minutes in. But that part that I just read, they do not put that out there for the community to see, because they don't want to hear black men's voices. These are actual tangible things that black men and the black community as a whole need. When they said racism, discrimination, inflation, cost of living, criminal justice reform, police brutality. And they said, they also said 41% of black men disapprove of what Joe Biden is doing. They will not put that out there for the nation to see. Because again, they don't want to hear black men's voice. They don't want to hear from black men. If black women said it, maybe, possibly, but then again, they probably don't want to hear that either, because these are actual issues that are facing us as a collective, some more than others, but as a collective nonetheless. And they have to, that goes against the whole campaign as of the get your booty to the polls and the no voting, no vucking, and all of that other stuff, because they have to talk to us like we're children. They have put us in a box like we're like some hypersexualized teenagers that are trying to lose their virginity at all any cost. That's how they see us, not what the men, these black men, are talking about, which are actual issues that we've been facing. Another thing you could throw in there on top, of course, the reparations, is that anti-black hate crime bill that we have been in dire need of for God knows how long. Like, how many examples do we really need to show that the anti-black hatred is definitely real? I mean, y'all saw the video that I did about the Asian woman on the train. I mean, goddamn. Let me continue. The group at any time cuts named financial security, student loan forgiveness, police reform, healthcare reform, and improving jail conditions as their top concerns. Well, I have some that can actually top those. As like I said, we have a lot of concerns, but this is just for me. I know that these are theirs, but for me, those wouldn't even be in my top 5. They would, let's put it this way, cut the check, reparations, tangibles. That has to happen first, more than anything. The anti-black hate crime bill has to follow that. Anything else can fall under that umbrella, but those two things are at the top of the list, with the tangibles being number 1. The anti-black hate crime bill would be definitely number 2. Anything else can fall after that. But those two things have to happen first for me. That's just my opinion. Y'all let me know down in the comments or in the chat what would have to happen for you first before what they just mentioned. Most said they vote in elections, but rarely see lawmakers making decisions that help them personally or their communities. That goes back to the one who said that he's still going to vote in this election. Why vote? If this is your grievance, why would you even still continue to vote for these individuals who are not going to do anything? Because you're wasting your time and wasting a vote to help put these people in these positions, and they're not going to do anything. They're going to still do the whole bunch of nothing that they've been doing for the last few years, the last few decades, if you want to be quite honest. Do something about policing, Hawkins said. Do something for the people that can't really help themselves. I don't think people choose to be homeless and hungry. Hawkins and Bethea said they have given up waiting for policies that will close the wealth gap and give black Americans a fair shot at success. They are focused on providing for their families. We can't sit around and wait for legislation to change because the kids are at home hungry, Hawkins said. Some of those same sentiments are felt by black men nearly 900 miles away in New York. My son Lennon, a popular activist and rapper from the Bronx, said he can't remember the last time a political candidate spoke directly to black men during their campaign and delivered on those promises after winning. Lennon said black men are tired of the quote unquote pandering. Lennon said Lenin wants politicians who genuinely care about black men living in marginalized communities and will follow through on addressing police reform, livable wage jobs, and an investment in mental health resources. They have to do better with having tangible results, Lenin said. Tell us how you plan to invest in the communities to change those realities, get into office, and actually fight to do those things. In the past few months, Abrams has hosted a series of events that targeted black men in Georgia and released a quote-unquote black men's agenda that does nothing and speaks nowhere near to black men. As y'all know, I did a whole live stream. Well, in my live stream, I broke down that so-called black men's agenda. I cut it up, or clipped it, I should say, and then uploaded as a separate video. It's only Black Men Agenda entitled. Don't even waste your time. It says that details her plans to invest in black-owned small businesses, expand Medicaid, increase funding to schools, and opportunities for job training, and hold police accountable. Again, that's a very broad thing. But like I said, when you read that so-called Black Men Agenda, it doesn't speak to anything directly affecting black men. She just put Black Men Agenda on it because I guess it sounded nice or it looked nice. But Lenin and Nichols agree that Abrams' effort may have come too late. Nichols said he fears that some black men are already planning to sit home on election day or vote for Kemp. I think she didn't necessarily get the right advice at the right time, and now it feels like she's pandering. Nichols said, no, she is pandering, and she has been pandering. I think she really is concerned. She's not, but I think it comes across to some like we've been ignored all this time. Nichols said he urges 2024 election candidates to do more outreach to black men and black families. The organization Black Men Vote has already launched a national campaign to register 1 million black male voters by November 2024. Let me tell you right now, if tangibles isn't a part of it, you ain't getting that million. Except for those of a certain age and those shills, of course. NAACP President Derek Johnson said those seeking public office must prioritize the needs of black men if they want to win. Let me read that again. NAACP President Derek Johnson said those seeking public office must prioritize the needs of black men if they want to win. That's a very potent statement, but I'm willing to bet they're going to gloss over it and continue to do what it is that they're doing even after they see the results. It is incumbent upon both political parties and all candidates to understand that the votes of African American men are not guaranteed, Johnson said. It's an important voting bloc, and candidates must speak to them so that they can see how their vote really can support democracy and their quality of life. But even then, like I said, and that was the whole article, and even then, it still might be too late because a lot of black men have jumped ship. They are through with all the pandering, all the insults, the name calling, the stereotypical babble, and anything else that comes along with it in a very dark and negative tone. Go see if you can get the help from all those people that you've been pandering to, such as the academy, these illegal immigrants, the Asian community, PC women, all of those people that y'all have been catering to for so long, because you can't get what you want out of us because we finally see the light. And black women, don't think that they are so cozy up with you like you think they are. And I'm talking about them shilling black women, because it's only a matter of time before they turn their back on you. That whole thing of blaming black men gonna go into blaming black people. Just give it some time. Quiet as it's kept, it's kind of already there. Some of you just haven't seen the light yourselves. But don't go around blaming black men if they lose on the 8th. It's not black men's fault. It is theirs. The fault rises and falls on them.